Frank, Kentucky's always very talented, but this year, maybe they don't have a Tyler Eulis and Malik Monk, like the one guy that they'll go to in a clutch situation. How difficult does that make to kind of scout for them, considering they've got 5 guys who average over 10 a game?
Yeah, I don't mean to disagree with you on that. They do have go-to guys. The problem they have is they don't have an upperclassman to lead. So they're dependent on 2 freshman point guards, and one of them's been hurt for the last 3 games, I think, and he was their starting point guard. So I think they do have go-to guys. You know, you don't beat Louisville by 30 if you don't have go-to guys. They've been hurt, and before they got hurt, he was playing basically 8 guys, maybe 9. And now he's down, and the part that most people don't get, we just lived it, is when you're young and you get hurt, you lose your edge because you can't practice. And practice is not let's show up and throw balls around and high five and do a kumbaya moment and let's all feel good about each other. Practice needs to be competitive. So, when you got old team like we had last year, you can manage a couple days through their minds and still perform the game the right way. When you got young guys, you got to keep them on edge because they don't know how to. They overreact to good days too much, and they overreact to bad days too much. So you gotta stay on them. And but I think what they're missing is, I think I saw Cal interviewed a week ago or so. I can't remember what game it was. I was watching him live on TV, and he said it's the youngest team he's ever had. And and when I watch them, I watch real good players, but they missed those upperclassmen, those Briscoes, the Tyler Eulis, I can't remember the name of the young man that 2 years ago came in here and grabbed every offensive rebound. He transferred to Washington. He's from Northern California. Lee, who hadn't played for a couple of years, and all of a sudden that year he became a starter for him. So I think that's what they're missing. But Cal would be better to answer that than me.
Anybody?
Joe doesn't have his Cubs hat.
I'll come back to you, Joe.
Going back to what you were just saying about having young guys and not letting them get too caught up in the good, how do you keep your guys from getting caught up with Saturday and for losing track and focusing on?
Because it's what I speak about every day. I don't change my tune. I don't dwell on yesterday. I don't worry about tomorrow. I never do, never have, never will. I didn't come in here yesterday and act differently because we played like a good basketball team on Saturday. I came in here and I was the same person I am every day. It's education it's like raising a child, man. It's the same deal. It's your kid, like my son, because he does things right at home for a day, he thinks that the next week should be easy. It don't work that way. It's everything's based on education. And, I can tell you this, and I'm not trying to take a shot at anyone in this room, but I answer questions every week to you guys and national media people and ESPN people after games or SEC Network after whatever. And I'm glad no one that asks me a question coaches the guys on my team. Because every question I've answered for the last 3 weeks is, well, it's a disappointing season. And, no, it's like the other day, well, what an ugly basketball game. Really? Come on, man, give me a break. It's about today. It's about growing and getting better today. And that's where our focus is at. I don't come in here. When I come in here and tell you guys that I'm disappointed in our leadership or how we practiced, is because I'm living it with the guys, and I'm trying to share that with you. That's why some coaches don't answer questions, and they give you wallpaper answers. They don't give you real. And because, for whatever reasons, they just don't want to share that with you. I try to tell you the truth. You know, I never lie. I don't make stuff up. But you know what? I live it with those guys. I'm in there every day. I know how much they care. I know how much they want to learn. When they don't do things the right way, it's my job to make them learn. But it's not my job. Can you imagine if I walked into our practice and I said, "Yeah, I'm so disappointed in you guys. You know, we're 10-5 or whatever our record. I don't even pay attention to our record. That's another thing with me. I can care less what our record is. Never have, never will. I'm so disappointed." Can you imagine if that's how I approach practice? Those guys, seriously, you really think they come in the next day and try and do things the right way? You know, we're lucky that we get to do what we do for a living. I am who I am every day. Those guys that know me, they get used to it. The new guys are the ones that don't understand, but that's their challenge in life, is to take that next step. So I just I don't react based on winning and losing. There's sometimes we win, and I come in the next day, and I'm wound up because we didn't play the game the right way. I don't come in and I'm happy because we won. It's about doing things the right way, and that's the way I you know. And guys, when they get around me, they figure it out.
Coach, building off that, when you talk about doing things the right way, I know you talk about it all the time, starts in practice. Well, how does it help right now when you have Ra and Bowen back now to help these guys understand what it will take to play at that high level? I know you're excited to have them. Looking at your tweets, I know you're really happy for Ra to be back in the fold as well.
Yeah, you know, and like Brian will practice every single day. Ra we're still feeling that one out. He's a part of what we do, but I've got some other things I've got him doing. So there may be some days that things overlap, and I need him to do the other stuff before worried about practice. But you know, I think I told you guys I was in practice, you know, 4 or 5 days ago, whatever it was, Thursday maybe, and all of a sudden I heard a different voice in practice. I'm like, who the heck? Ra got out of a car, came into practice, and started telling people what to do. Hadn't been here since June. Telling people, yo, get over there. Yo, do this. Come on, man, you do better than that. And I'm sitting there saying, that's refreshing, you know, because there's a reason he played last year, you know, because that's his personality. And no surprise, we practiced real well that day, the next day, and, you know, played our best road game of the year, even though that Wofford game's starting to look pretty good, but played the best road game of the year, you know, as far as attention to detail, 40 minutes, competitiveness, all the things, body language, connection, guys on the same page, probably that we've played all year.
It's kind of a follow-up of that. How did kind of yesterday look when you had kind of the full scope of things? You mentioned a little bit last week because of the injuries. You had to plug in, you know, Justin and stuff like that. But now you kind of had a full roster, and you had two guys that you think really highly of as their ability. How did yesterday look? Was there a little more kind of spark to practice?
Yeah, and you guys keep forgetting about Hassani Rabbit. I mean, we didn't just add two guys that just walked off the streets. We added a guy who, you know, hadn't practiced, I can't remember since when. Probably since the Limestone game. I can't remember. He rolled his ankle. He didn't play at Ole Miss, right? So it was back then. It was since after the Limestone game. So he hadn't practiced. So now the guy that was your starting point guard, which once again, he didn't start at point guard because I like his hairdo or he earned that job. And he gave us the best option at that place. And now you lose him. And now the next guy that was in line, Corey Holden, he's out already. So you're not only do you try to scramble to survive in games, you lose edge in practice. You can't prepare young guys the same way. You know why Ra Felder could play and play so well in the NCAA tournament last year? Because he dealt with Dwayne Notice every play, every day in practice. Some guys run away from that when they're young. Some guys embrace it. He embraced it. So he got better. We lost that when we lost Hassani in practice. We lose Corey in practice. So now I got Wes Myers, who's really trying, that this is all new to him, and the level of competition day in and day out is new to him. going against David Beatty, who's a freshman that's never played point guard in his life. That's our practice. And you know, it's hard to prepare young guys to understand what's coming. But that practice was different yesterday, you know, and it wasn't different in the sense that all of a sudden we were a great team and every shot went in the basket. No, it was competitive. We had multiple players at different spots every time that were competing, which was fun. You know, as a coach, your number one ally is competition. When there's no competition, you know, like I told some of you guys that were covering our team at Georgia, you know, then you deal with leverage, you know, and young people have leverage. They don't know how to handle leverage. They don't understand. That doesn't make them a bad guy. When you're old, now you understand leverage. If you mishandle leverage, then you're preparing yourself to fail. And you know, I talk to the team. That's part of the deal, man. You know, you got to speak about those things because I get it. You guys cover our team playing. That's great. I got to keep covering these guys 10 years from now when they're grown men in society. So my responsibility to them is to learn how to act like a man so they can succeed, because that's what I promised their parents when I sit in their houses. I don't promise their parents NCAA tournaments. I don't promise their parents playing time. I promise their parents that I'm always going to be part of their lives when they need me. So when they're 10 years removed from being Gamecocks, as far as wearing the uniform, I'm still responsible to help them with the things that they need. And my job is to help prepare them for that. So, but practice was, we had multiple, you know, players, man. It was fun to watch. Watching Justin Minaya and Brian guarding each other in practice, and you know, now Sonny's back. So now you got Sonny and Wes going at it in practice, and you got David Beatty and excuse me, and whoever else. Now you've got like multiple guys at every spot, you know, high level competition. So that was fun. Sorry for the long answer.
That's fine. Coach, with that, you know, win at Georgia, the way you guys won, you know, winning those 50-50 plays and defense and the way practice is now, are you sensing the shift now? Is the team kind of realizing, oh, this is how we need to play in order to be successful? Do you kind of see them starting to get it now?
That's the goal. You know, this team for the most part is practiced the right way. They care, they get along. I've said that from the word go. I'll repeat what I said a month ago. I screwed up some stuff as far as our preparations during that 1 week that we had Temple, UMass, and whoever else we played. And I told you guys I'm going to fix it. I'm not going to say I fixed it, but I tried to fix it. But these guys play, and we went through a stretch there where we didn't have enough bodies to prepare. Hard to conduct practices that way. We went out and played at Ole Miss, and we're right there to win the game, one possession game with, you know, 30, 40 seconds to play or whatever. You know, that's hard to do, man. It's hard to do, but we did it. But we got beat. And I get it. We get judged on wins and losses. It's all part of the deal. We sign up for it. We can't run away from it. And, you know, then obviously we didn't play real well against Missouri. Didn't play real well at Alabama. But all that was hard to stay on edge. But when we've had a healthy team together and we've practiced, they do a pretty good job. You know, you think about Clemson, you know, and I had some, you know, must have been a Clemson fan, send me some real stupid stuff on. I was actually in a good mood after the Georgia game, so I was reading some of my Twitter stuff, which I rarely do at this time of year, but I chose to read that day. I was on that bus, I was bored, and say something, keep crying about officials and, you know, the Clemson deal or whatever. I just start laughing. That's why I read it when I'm in a good mood. I'm like, you know anything about me, man. Me crying, please. I do cry. I ain't crying about losing now. You know, it's, or, you know, making excuses, but we fought at Clemson. It's not like we went in there and got out of the way. We fought. Couldn't score in the second half, just like the Georgia game. But against Georgia, we shot 35 free throws. Against Clemson, we never shot a free throw in the second half. So, you know, and I'm not sitting here blaming. That's the fact of the game. That's not trying to create excuses for losing. We didn't shoot any free throws in the second half, and we missed shots. So we couldn't win. But we fought. So I like this team. I really do. And adding 2 more guys that can help practices become more competitive, I think will be real helpful. You know, a talent like Brian and the voice and the enthusiasm and the toughness of a Rakim Felder is going to help all those young guards.
Frank, it's rare that a coach, before he comes out to a press conference, he puts a tweet out just about something in general. So I know you got other things on your mind, and I saw that you put the tweet out about Dr. King.
Yeah.
Want to just ask you about that, because obviously with today and just everything that he stood for, but you know, not even 10 minutes before you came up here, you put that out. Just want to ask, you know, your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I wake up in the mornings, and it's kind of a ritual for me. I brew myself a cup of coffee. I've told you guys, whoever invented those Keurig machines deserves to be the richest person in the history of mankind. And I brew myself a cup of coffee, and I'll sit in the dark, and I just think. I try to plan my day. I think about, you know, these are the things I have to make sure I deal with today. These are the things that if I don't get to, screw it, don't matter, you know. And then I think about just whatever today's about. You know, and obviously, you know, today being MLK Day, what he did was powerful. And I have an unbelievable amount of respect for how he did things. And so then I came in, Chuck Martin and I were met about Kentucky, watched some film, which I don't know why Cal watches film of us or I watch film of them. They know what we're going to do, and I know what he's going to do. It just doesn't change. But that's what we're supposed to do. And then I planned practice. So then I was sitting in my office by myself, and I was just thinking, you know, you know, in a time where we got a lot of, because of social media, we get a lot of people that take to protest or whatever the word you want to use in a negative way. I thought I'd just share my thoughts on why I respect Dr. King, because of his education, his love, and the courage to force change. Since his education, his words, and his love connected with his courage, it brought attention to what he was trying to do. When you don't do it that way, when those 3 things don't connect, then instead of people embracing your courage, they see your courage as being defiant, or whatever the word you want to use there. I don't know if that's the right word, but I was just in thought. You know, sometimes I share my thoughts. That's what I use social media for. Maybe 3 times a year, I'm in a real good mood, and I decide to somebody, you know. 25 years ago, I deal with it a little differently because there was no social media. Everything was face-to-face. Now, social media, I've learned. I'm a nicer guy.
Couple more. John and then Dave.
You have a little bit of a newer team this year, and you've obviously played a lot of good teams, but this is the first true blue blood that this team has played. Do you worry about this team getting caught up kind of in the name on the front of the jersey, or is that not something you have to worry about with this group?
Yeah, you know, John, it might happen. It might. You know, every kid in high school, every kid that plays high school basketball, I don't care what anyone tells you, they dream of playing for one of those blue blood schools, or they dream of playing against one of those blue blood schools. It is what it is. And, you know, I'm sure the guys on our team will be overly excited about it. You know, like when we played Temple up in Madison Square Garden, we had some guys just get caught up in the moment. You know, Madison Square Garden, my God, you know, whatever, and didn't play real well. I don't know if concern's the right word, but this is what I'm kind of trying to decipher in my brain a little bit. Every time we've played at 9 o'clock at night this year, we have not played real well. So what are we doing during the course of the day? Is it the opponent? Is it us? That's the one I'm trying to figure out right now. And, you know, once again, you know, our poor fans have to deal with a late night start. You know, I don't control that. I wish I did. It wouldn't work that way. I think anyone that knows me knows I'm against 9 o'clock starts, but they're on the schedule, and it's fair. It's the same for everybody. So we have to. I'm more consumed with that. But yeah, can that happen? Yes. And it's like when we played Duke last year. You know, I told you guys at halftime, I thought we played real well, but I thought we were pressing a little bit. And in basketball, when you press, it's not the rebound, it's not the screen, it's you get a little tense. When you get a little tense, then shooting isn't the same. So we'll see. We'll see.
Frank, just a couple. How is Corey doing? Any updated timetable on his return?
Yeah, he was doing some running on the side yesterday while we were practicing. So it was good to see him running up and down. He's been on one of those treadmills that kind of takes your body weight off of you while you run. But yesterday was the first time he ran on the side. So, you know, it's good to see him run, but there's a difference running on the side than actually getting into a game where you got to like change speeds and all that stuff. So, but he's in good spirits right now, which is I'm happy to see.
And also with Hassani back healthy, any plans on putting him back in the lineup, or do you like what you got right now with Wes and Evan and kind of that group starting five?
Yeah, I don't think I'll change the lineup for this game. I really don't. I actually, if you remember us before his injury, I like playing Hassani and Wes together. You know, so I don't know. It's maybe not. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you there. You know, we're coming off a game where we played as connected as we've played in a while. I'm going to kind of keep stuff the same here for tomorrow, and then, you know, but that's with a young team. That can change because you got guys that you know, just they're going through it for the first time, and they don't handle things the right way. Can't leave them in the lineup if they're not listening or not preparing the right way. You got to change stuff around. You got to, you know, with young teams that happens a lot, and I'm not big on changing lineups. Especially at this time of year. But when you're young, you got to be prepared to do anything to get guys to keep learning and learn how to prepare a little better.